Water cycle. The water cycle consists of the three major processes that we are going to discuss in the next slides. We will be talking about evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. For evaporation, this is a process wherein liquid surface changing to a gas. In the water cycle, liquid water coming from the ocean, coming from lakes, or even rivers will evaporate and will become water vapor. And water vapor is a very important greenhouse gas. The sun powers the water cycle by its heat energy that causes the liquid water to evaporate into water vapor. This will form the clouds and later on precipitate back to the Earth's surface. Evaporation happens on the surface where liquid water turns into gas. The heat of the sun is evenly distributed or transferred into the colliding water molecules, and then those water molecules will begin to rise into the atmosphere. Transpiration, on the other hand, happens when plants, through its leaves, stems, and flowers, release a small amount of water into the atmosphere. The total combined processes of evaporation and transpiration is called evapotranspiration. Condensation is the cooling of the rising warm air in the atmosphere that produces the different cloud formations. Clouds are tiny water droplets. Like clouds, dew is the result of a heavy air moisture in contact with cooler surface, such as glass or plant leaves. Precipitation occurs when the condensed water droplets in the clouds are heavy enough that they no longer suspend in the atmosphere and they begin to fall to the Earth's surface. The forms of precipitations are snow, hail, or rain, depending on the cloud and Earth's surface temperatures. Rain is a water that falls from clouds. Rainfall is measured by a rain gauge in the weather stations. The Philippines receives 965 to 4,064 millimeters of rain annually. Because of air pollution, rain can sometimes carry pollutants like acid rain. It can damage the statue on the left, as seen in the photo, and this is a type of chemical weathering. Snow are water vapor that are formed into small white ice crystals. Snow do not occur in the tropical regions like the Philippines. Sleet, on the other hand, forms when a raindrop turns into an ice pellets as it falls to the Earth's surface. Sleets are also called snowflakes. Hail, on the other hand, is the result of freezing of water vapor of sizes 5 to 15 centimeters and falls to earth in round or jagged formation. Usually, hailstones are associated with a thunderstorm clouds. So this is the difference between a freezing rain, sleet, and snow from the National Weather Service, compiled by Len Milisorgo. Rain is the frozen precipitation that melts in warm air and reaches the ground as rain. In the Philippines, rain comes from a frozen precipitation. Because the Philippines has a warm air compared to the temperate regions, rain melts and drops as water. The freezing rain are actually the frozen precipitation that melts in warm air, rain falls and freezes on cold surfaces. While sleets, on the other hand, are frozen precipitation, melts in shallow warm air, and it refreezes back into sleet before reaching the surface. That's why we can see them as snowflakes. Snow, on the other hand, are snow falls through cold air and reaches the ground as snow. Runoffs are what is collected in watersheds. These are the water that flows on land surfaces. Runoff sources comes from rainwater or even snow melts. Watershed is an area where rainwater and snow melts drains into streams, rivers, down to lake, bays, and oceans. The Balinsasaya watershed in the photo is very vital to the biodiversity in the southern Negros area in the Philippines. Stormwater is common in urban environment where rainfall do not soak into the ground due to paved environments such as roads, driveways, parking lots, and other urban facilities. It is one of the major concerns in highly developed cities along with waste management. Infiltration is the amount of rainwater that enters the ground. It is measured in meters or distance per day. The full infiltration rate of an area is called the infiltration capacity. The infiltration rate is affected by the amount of soil moisture in the surface layers. The water beneath the Earth's surface, found between spaces of pores and fractures of rocks, are called an aquifer. This water can be harnessed for use like drinking and agriculture. Water cycle or hydrologic cycle is powered by the energy of the sun. The different processes involved in a water cycle are evaporation, transpiration, condensation, and precipitation. Evaporation and transpiration collectively is called evapotranspiration. Evaporation is from the bodies of water such as oceans, lakes, and rivers. These bodies of water is taken up by plants and animals, and in return, plants also provide the process of transpiration, part of a water cycle process. The condensation happens in two forms. One is dew, the other one is cloud formation. Cloud formation happens in our atmosphere. The precipitation from clouds are in different forms such as hail, sleet, snow, and rain. Rain will produce the surface flow and surface runoff. Rain, on the other hand, undergoes the process of infiltration. This is measured in meters per day. And infiltration will retain the soil moisture. At the same time, we'll charge our groundwater storage. On the other hand, surface flow or surface runoff produces what we call stormwater in an urban environment. And surface flow or runoff will collectively, together with the meltwater from glaciers and snow, produce what we call the watershed.